Nerdcast assemble! Stay dandy, baby. But right now, let's go ahead and jump into One Piece. I've been on vacation for the last couple weeks. I haven't had an opportunity to read these chapters. I just got back, and I finally had a chance to read them, and crazy shit is going down. One, we finally wrapped up the freaking backstory of Oden and his family, how they were sent into the future, of what happened to the 9 red scabbards, and we finally get some big revelations about some of these characters. Before we move on to what is one of the biggest revelations, which is that one of these members of the 9 red scabbards is indeed a traitor, we actually get to learn a big truth. In the last podcast and the last review of One Piece, I was talking about the character of Denjiro, who was a member of Oden's team, and he was also one of the super powerful samurai who doesn't really do anything, except that he's actually been one of the most active members of the group we didn't realize until one of the most recent chapters. So my theory, of course, is that Denjiro was actually the person who trained Zoro. It's not the case at all. It's not who it is at all.
No.
It turns out that Denjiro is that one Yakuza boss who goes by the name of Kiyoshiro.
Yep.
And I don't know how I didn't see that coming, but there is a lot of evidence to it. When I learned this fact, I looked up a ton of videos and theories, and people have been theorizing about this for like 6 months.
Really?
And I have not seen it at all.
Oden's a good writer, man. He's great at hiding things in front of you.
He really is. And
well,
I
he
didn't
overwhelms you with characters.
Yeah.
And then he's like, why didn't you see it? Because you wore me down, bro.
You just introduced like 30 characters in this chapter. What do you want me to do?
Yeah.
Then again, people, they really analyze and they read this stuff, and I really like that. I applaud the critical thinking and the analytics of looking at that. But also, Denjiro looks nothing like Kiyoshiro at all. They are just the exact opposite in every single way, so there's no way that I could have predicted it. He was this guy with slick back hair and sunglasses, and suddenly he turns into this goofy pompadour Yakuza guy. And it does make sense. You go back and you look at the scenes, the interactions between Kiyoshiro and Komurasaki, otherwise known as Hiyori, and you can see that there's this like weird sort of relationship between these two characters where he never really goes far to actually hurt her and always gives up in these situations that actually end up helping her a lot.
Yes.
So basically, Denjiro is one of those characters who has not gone forward in time and has taken on the guise of this Yakuza boss so that he can work closely with Orochi so that he can supposedly take him out at some time and maybe start some sort of coup against the group. Why he's waited 20 years, maybe it's all a part of this crazy time-traveling plot, but that was one of the biggest surprises at the very end of that entire
inside
backstory.
guy on the good guy side.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So he's been there working alongside Komurasaki, in a way, sort of raising her.
Yeah.
And prepping her for this big event that's going to be happening 20 years later during this big event where they're going to try and take down Kaido and Orochi and all this other crazy shit. So yeah, basically the entire backstory is officially finished. And I'm glad, personally. I liked the backstory, but man, did it go on for a long time.
You know what else I like? I like seeing Luffy punch dudes in the face. And we haven't seen that in a
You're
while.
a simple man with simple tastes who likes simple things. And I have to agree. I wanted to see Luffy return and do some badass shit. And luckily, it doesn't look like we're going to have to wait much longer. So,
what are they going to do with the traitor?
What are they going to do with the traitor? So that's been one of the biggest things right before this entire damn backstory thing was dropped on us. They had that big scene where Kinemon and all of those people who worked directly under Oden were getting ready to storm Kaido's place, and they were going to kick some ass. And they were going to receive some help and some reinforcements, which never showed up. They ended up getting invaded by the Beast Pirates, and they're like, oh shit, what's going on here? Is there a traitor amongst us?
Yeah.
And that's been the biggest talk here. And everybody has had their theories as to who it was actually going to be. And it ends up being none other than Kanjuro. Kanjuro.
Yep.
That bastard.
That
and you know what? It
shitty
makes
drawing
perfect
dude.
sense. He is a kabuki.
Yeah.
He is an actor. He's an actor. He's been tricking these people this entire time with his quite literal act. Not only that, but he's not as shitty of an artist as we originally imagined.
No, he does that on purpose.
Yes, he does that to fool all of his enemies. And what I love about revelations like this is that it gives me an opportunity to go back and either watch the anime. Excuse me. It gives me an opportunity to either go back and watch the anime or read the manga and see if I can find clues as to what this guy was actually doing this entire time. And I have to say, man, they did a good job of actually hiding the fact that this guy is a shit eater. And just...
They did it really... I always thought it was weird when he showed up. I was like, where'd he come from? You know,
It is a little strange, isn't it?
because they saved the one guy on Punk Hazard, and they met the samurais, and then I felt like he just sort of appeared. And
Yeah,
no one
during
really
the
said anything.
during the Doflamingo arc.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He just appeared, or he was just on the island. They're like, "Whoa, this is a coincidence.
Yeah.
Join our group," and no one really like okayed him, or he didn't prove anything really. He did draw like some tigers that everyone rode on or some shit.
I mean, he drew a lot. He drew that shitty sparrow.
Yeah.
And all that other stuff, and they did a great job of building him up as sort of like this funny, goofy side character who's just really good friends with Kinemon. And that's because that's what he is. Like, for these years, he's been secretly working for Orochi. He's a part of his family. And he's been doing this to get even closer to that group so that eventually, of course, he can snuff them out. And here's sort of the perfect opportunity to reveal himself because he actually is able to take Momonosuke away. And as opposed to just straight up just killing him right there and destroying the entire line altogether, he's going to decide to bring him to Kaido because that's what evil monologuing villains like to do. But it was a really big shock because it also revealed his secret ability that he is a great drawer, and he actually created a clone of himself. Yes. It was like a perfect clone, and Kinemon even attacks him and destroys it, and that's when he reveals that he's actually an amazing artist. So this has actually got me really hyped to see what he's going to create in the future, like what sort of crazy drawings and abilities he's going to have now. But it was kind of a shock, I have to admit.
No, it's kind of interesting. I did not see it coming, and I think it says I never found that character interesting. I never thought that anything that he was saying was important, and now that they reveal him as the bad guy, I'm like, fucking Oden is such a good writer.
Oda.
You know? Oda. Oh, you know, you get the idea.
Yeah.
Great writer, great at revealing things. Like, even though you know that so many things, like there was going to be so much backstabbing in this arc, it feels like more's on the line in this arc.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like we've had such a build-up to get here. We had Punk Hazard, which pretty much introduced the concept, and now we're here. So we're like 2 or 3 arcs in just to get here.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so it's kind of interesting.
I mean, this is arguably the biggest arc of the series thus far.
Yeah, but you say that almost every arc. Not you. I'm saying like you always feel like that.
Yeah.
They have one way of stepping it up every arc. Mm-hmm. Unless it's that Foxy one where they just box.
The Davy fight back arc?
Yeah, that one. Not as important.
Which they made even longer in the anime version by adding even more competition to it?
Yeah. Really important stuff.
Best arc of the series as far as I'm concerned.
Well, we'll have to make
You really didn't like the Foxy arc?
No, it was okay. It just wasn't as important. It wasn't like, it wasn't as death-defying or, it wasn't as interesting. They just punch each other a lot till someone quits.
In retrospect, it really doesn't have much of an outcome on anything.
No, it doesn't.
It was an in-betweener arc. But still, but yeah, this arc right here has just been insane with everything that they've actually been adding to it. But yeah, Kanjuro actually being the traitor is a really big surprise. Before, I just saw him as sort of like a goofier version of Sai from Naruto. Yeah. And now I view the character in a completely different light. And the big surprise, of course, after that is that it looks like they're actually going to be saved by none other than Luffy, Trafalgar Law, and Kid, who've actually shown up. And interestingly enough, it looks like the Thousand Sunny has been repaired.
Boom, boom. We're
boom,
good.
boom. It's back. The ship is here. They're not going to have to get another one, which is really awesome. And it's just finally great. I love that badass moment where they're like, no, you're going to have to fight against pirates now. You can almost see the to be continued screen from the anime popping up right at that moment. Like, that was just awesome. Such a really great moment. That was super triumphant. And it's just great to finally see Luffy and Kid and Law working together.
Yeah, it's going to be this is pretty much endgame for this arc. I think we're moving into that.
Maybe.
Not endgame, but I'm saying like we're about to line up final fights. We're about to line up a lot of stuff. Mm-hmm. I'm pretty excited about that.
I think this is a big rescue mission which is about to happen. I don't know if they're going to go immediately and take on Kaido. Maybe they're just going to save Kinemon and their group and come up with a brand new plan.
Maybe it goes Orochi first.
Yeah.
And then
they got to deal with Orochi.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Orochi first and then Kaido. I don't think they're doing both at the same time, but then again, they have like 35 fucking people, so
more than that.
You know what I mean?
Like the amount of characters in this arc is overwhelming. I have to be perfectly honest.
Having a hard time following some of the things you're even saying with the names.
I know.
Like I'm like, fuck, I don't remember all these people.
Kanjuro Korizumi.
Yeah, no.
He's from Orochi's family.
It just sounds like a lot of Japanese words to me.
It is a lot of Japanese words. Honestly, that's one of the other elements that's made the Wano arc so hard for me to sort of follow, is because before, a lot of the characters were really, like, they had simple names. Luffy, Nami, Robin, Lucci. Zoro, Brook. And now you have all of these, like, Japanese names, which are just so hard to remember. And the fact that there are just so many characters and so many different factions going up against one another.
That all have different interests.
And even when you have all of these factions that are actually involved in this arc in One Piece, I have a feeling others are going to get involved too. I'm waiting for the Marines to show up.
The Marines are going to show up. You still got Big Mom. Is her pirates going to get involved, or is it just her that's getting involved? Her pirates came and dropped her off. Some of her generals did. You know, so they're there. So we'll see.
I mean, she's teamed up with Kaido right now.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's going to be a giant fight when they actually.
Is Shanks going to show up?
Is Shanks? Yeah.
No, fuck it. Blackbeard. Let's bring him in too.
No, don't bring Black. That's too much then. That's too much. The Revolutionary Army, are they coming? You know, who knows? The Revolutionaries, or what do they call themselves?
Yeah, the Revolutionaries.
Yeah, we'll see if they show up, but they got disturbed pretty bad because the Blackbeard pirates attacked them, and Sabo's supposedly captured.
Supposedly.
He probably is. They wouldn't have said it.
Or actually, they said that I think Sabo was dead.
Dead,
but
or
that's
captured.
not true.
No. They kill important characters off screen. No, they don't do that. They don't do that. Overall, awesome chapter. Let's see what they do with the next chapter, because I am pretty excited to see what One Piece is doing next week. And yeah, overall, real good chapter. Do you want to give it a rating? Do you do that anymore?
Not really. I mean,
it's a 7 out of 8.
Out of a 5, I would definitely give it a 4. It's just
go.
really exciting, great revelation. Again, it's one of those chapters where, not much happens. It's a weekly manga series, though, so it's to be expected. But big things happened. Kanjuro being revealed, and, of course, Luffy and their crew showing up at the very end. Teaming up with Eustace, Kid, and freaking Law. That's a really big deal. So I'm just excited to hopefully see a lot of crazy action in the coming weeks. We're just a few days from the latest chapter, so I'm excited to see what that's going to be about. But what about you guys? What did you think about the latest chapter of One Piece, the end of Oden's backstory, Denjiro being Kyoshiro, Kanjuro being the traitor, Luffy showing up? What do you hope to see in the ridiculousness that is the Wano Kingdom arc? Sound off in the comment section below.